I wanted to look at one of the nighttime games here at 6:50 Eastern. Some weird start times in baseball, man. 6:50 Eastern, man. We can't start at 7. Won't get home in time. 6:50 Eastern for the 10 people that go to the games in Tampa Bay. Tampa's another team that maybe we got to be careful with. You know, the Astros are obviously off to a very slow start this year. Tampa's been a powerhouse in recent years. They're just 10-8 here. Angels 8-9 actually might be a good start after losing Ohtani. You know, a lot of people thought they wouldn't show this year. One thing that jumps out to me, though, is both offenses have been suspect at times this season. And you look at the bullpen, though, for the Rays, just like the Houston Astros, who have been underachieving, the Rays bullpen has been awful, and that's been a strength for them over the years. 6.3 ERA this season. Angels, meanwhile, a 4.8, very mediocre. So the question becomes kind of like with Houston, does Tampa turn the corner, or are they maybe on the bottom half of their, long run that they've had for several years? Those bullpen numbers are very concerning. I think the Angels could be a live dog in this game at plus 105, and I need to see more from Tampa before I'm going to start backing them anytime soon.
Well, let's talk about early bullpens. When it comes to the first couple of weeks of the season, right now, when you look at bullpen stats, how much do you take away as randomness and how much you take away as, hey, this bullpen is really good, this bullpen is really bad? When it comes to, what do we got, about 2 weeks worth of stats, 2.5 weeks worth of stats for these pens? Are we making full season opinions about the state of these bullpens based on the first 10, 15% of the season?
Definitely not. It's an excellent point because it's a very small sample size, and where bullpen data is tricky is that you're not getting the same relievers every game. In fact, you really, for the most part, have no clue who's going to pitch in a game. You could sometimes know who's not going to pitch, right? If a reliever's maybe pitched back-to-back nights, you could take him out of the equation. And if it's one of the better relievers, I think that's something worth doing. If it's one of the weaker relievers, I'm not sure it helps your handicap much. But yeah, I'm not going to read too much into it, but Houston's another good example. Houston's got a 5.7 ERA. They brought it down slightly for the season, but they're still 6-13 straight up. So I think we have to be extra careful with teams like Houston and Tampa, who have really, in my opinion, had very good runs the last several years, almost a decade now, because of the strong bullpens. With Houston, for example, there's no question. I mean, that World Series a couple years ago, I thought was mostly bullpen. So it's a huge red flag for me when teams like that rely on the bullpen are having bad starts. Doesn't mean it's going to continue. Doesn't mean they're automatic fades, but it's very tough for me to back those teams until I see otherwise.